In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn your climate data into your climate graph. Um, if you need to, at any point, just pause or go back in the video to review certain information. So the first thing you should do is open up Google Sheets, and you should have a template created for you by your teacher. And your template will say climate data 4, and you will need to add the name of your city, possibly your state, but at least city and country. And then the columns with month, mean precipitation, mean high, and mean low should be filled in for you. And you'll need to add all of the months of the year and then add your precipitation data and your high and low data. Once you have all of that data included, then you're going to go ahead and highlight the month column all the way over to the mean low and just highlight all of your data. So the first thing we're going to do is go to Insert, and we're going to insert a chart. And the nice thing about Google Sheets is it will automatically collect your data and make a chart. So it has made a chart for me, and we're going to make sure if yours doesn't look exactly like mine, that's okay. We'll make sure that we've set it up the right way. So now if we look over on the right-hand side, you can see the chart editor. And so the first thing we're going to do is make sure you have the right kind of chart. So on my chart editor, it says I have a combo chart, and that is the kind of chart that you want. So I've highlighted that, and you can see it says combo chart. If you don't have that, you might have a line chart, you might have a column chart. Go ahead and choose combo chart so that your chart looks like mine. The next thing you're going to want to do is go through each part of the editor to customize the things that you want. So in this first setup part, I don't really need to change anything. I just look and make sure that I have the right kind of chart. The next thing I'm going to do is go over to Customize. So I'm going to move from Setup to Customize. And I'm going to go through each of the parts. So I'm going to start with chart style. And if you want to change your font, you could do that here. So maybe I'll pick this as my font. I could also change the border color. I probably won't change the background right now because I don't want my graph colors to interfere with the background at all. The next thing I want to do is work on my title and the labels for my axes. So I'm going to come down to Chart, Title. And the first thing I'm going to do is I don't want it to be called this at all. So I'm going to highlight the chart title text and delete that. I'm going to go ahead and call it climate data for my city. So I'm going to basically use the same title that that is already on the sheet itself. So climate data for, and then you're going to put your city. So mine is for Columbia, Maryland, and then I'm also going to include the country. So here you can also, now it's kept my font. I can make that bold if I want to. I can also change the color if I want to. You can also do some of these things later on if you'd like. The next thing I'm going to do is go back to chart title, and I'm going to use the drop down selector so that I can choose a subtitle. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a subtitle, and here's where you need to include your name. So I'm going to say this is the climate data for Columbia, Maryland by, and you're going to put your first and last name. So I'm Miss Wilging, so I'm going to put my first and last name there. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to come back to this in a little while because we're going to want to change some things with the series axis labels, but we don't have that yet. So we're going to come down and work through our series one thing at a time. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the mean precipitation. And we're going to put mean precipitation on the right axis. So I'm going to come down to axis, and I'm going to put it on the right axis. Okay. Then I'm going to also change the color because I want those bars to be green instead of blue. So for my fill color, I'm going to pick a light green color for the mean precipitation. That's what most of our climate graphs will look like. Okay, there's not much else I need to do right now for that. So now I'm going to switch to the next series and check on the mean high because we don't want to make sure that that matches what we want. So we want the color to be red for our high temperatures. So that's already red, so we don't need to change the line color unless you want to pick a different red. And we could also, if we wanted to, change the line type or the thickness of the line to make it a little bit heavier. But other than that, that is fine. And temperatures will be on the left axis. Now, the next part of our series that we want to change, so go back up to series, and we're going to drop down and change the mean low because we don't want that to be yellow. We want it to be blue. So I'm going to choose mean low, and I'm going to come down to line color, and I'm going to change it to blue. And since I changed the line thickness, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that that is the same thickness as the mean high. Okay, it's also on the left axis. So now all of that looks good. The next thing though that I want to do is I want to go back up to my axis titles because I don't have labels on my left and right axis. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that down. And now I'm going to go ahead and make sure my horizontal axis title is accurate. My horizontal axis title is month, and that's what I want it to be. My vertical axis title is referring to the left side. And so the left side is referring to my temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and click on vertical axis, and I'm just going to put temperature, spell that correctly, and I want it in degrees Celsius. So I'm just going to come over here and copy this degrees Celsius from my chart because I like that symbol. So I'm going to copy that. Anytime you need to go back into the editor, just click on the P pod and hit Edit Chart. And I was in Customize. Sorry, I left there for a moment. And I'm in the Axis Titles, and I'm labeling the temperature in degrees Celsius. There we go. So that's why I just copied that degrees Celsius from my data table and put it in there. And then everything else there looks good. So the next thing I'm going to customize is my right vertical axis. So I'm going to choose right vertical axis, and that is going to be my precipitation. And we measured that in centimeters. So make sure you include your units. And so that looks good there. The only other thing that you might want to do is on the horizontal axis, if you feel like your months are kind of running together, you can change the slant of the labels to be a little more slanted. That might help open up your graph a little bit more. You could even put them at 90 degrees if you wanted to. I like mine at a 60-degree slant. Okay, and that is basically it for your chart editor. And close that out. Remember, if you look at it, you review it, and you see something that you missed, remember you could just click the 3 dots in the right-hand corner to go back into Edit Your Chart.